Hey guys, Mud Turtle here with a long overdue video. Haven't done a video in like 9 months. Just really, it's been a busy year and my old camera crapped out on me. So upgraded to a Canon PowerShot SX500 with 30 zoom and 60 megapixels, and it is a great camera. Anyways, we're not here to talk about cameras, we're here to talk about cars. So tonight I dragged my Studebaker Avantis out of my jammer case. I haven't really done much with them for a while. As you can see, I am missing the gold regular classics and the super hunt until today. I had bought a lot of treasure hunts online, and in that there was the super, which, I mean, the card was so bad it literally fell right out of the package when I took it out of the box. So got it here, and surprisingly, you know, a lot of these, if some of you noticed, the paint was really flaky on the bottom, which it is a little bit on this, but a lot of them were missing paint in the rocker panels. It was almost like they were rusting. But this one's in pretty good shape. You know, the wheels don't really have much of a hula hoop on them like some of them did with the white lines. So that's a really nice addition, and glad I finally got that. Besides that, you know, I have the Studebaker Champ here. And I have all 5, which, you know, they've only made 5, unfortunately, since 2011. Although I'm not really a fan of the blue wheels and the blue cab on this one. I guess it's alright. But anyways, really glad I got this super hunt here. But while I got them out, I'll give you a little history on them. The Avanti was designed in '61 by Raymond Loewy. Loewy, I think is how you say his name. You know, Studebaker, they were really struggling. They were kind of starting to go down in the 50s and the 60s economically. They weren't doing well. You know, they weren't selling as many vehicles as they should. You know, the big three, Chrysler, GM, and Ford, they were really taking a lot of the sales, you know, with the Corvette and the T-Bird and the, you know, 59 Cadillac and, you know, you name it. They just, Studebaker really couldn't keep up with the sales and the volume of cars. So they went back, you know, Raymond Loewy, he had designed the Lark, or not the Lark, the Starlight and the Starliner. They went back to him and said, hey, you know, design a sports car with some luxury in it. So he had designed the Avanti. It's, you know, he only got 6 weeks for him and his team to design it, and I think they actually designed it right out of his garage, or out of his house. They didn't, you know, have the time to do a metal body and get the production line tooled for metal bodies, so they made it all fiberglass. And this also made the car lighter weight, and, you know, since they're going for performance, lighter weight, you know, faster land speed. Besides that, you know, he designed the car with a unique smooth nose. You know, it doesn't really have a grill. You know, it's got a little bit on the bottom where the air dam is, but, you know, he had, you know, the grills were, he had thought were more conventional, which, and you look at a grill on a, you know, 59 Cadillac, it's big, it's chrome, it's bulky, it's, you know, it makes it that car. And for the Studebaker Avanti, the smooth nose made it that car. So besides, you know, with that, they had designed a special radiator as well as a bottom air dam to cool the engine effectively. It was also the first model to come standard with front disc brakes as well as a roll bar. You know, the roll bar is actually right here in the car and then looped around. The interior, it was plush, everything was padded, you know, it had chrome. It looked like you're stepping in the cockpit of an airplane, and that's what they stressed in a lot of their sales videos is, you know, you're controlling the cockpit. You've got all these gauges, you've got the airplane style switches for your headlights, your parking lights, your heater controls. You know, the radio was recessed back in the dash. Everything was, it was, you know, clean cut, but it was, you know, it more appealed to a certain people that it was almost a status to drive one of these cars. You know, you look good in it, and that's the mission that they try to do with the Avanti is, you know, make the person feel really good driving a unique automobile that not everybody has. And anyways, the Avanti, it was put on a Studebaker Lark frame, which was chopped down because Lark's a pretty big car. But surprisingly, even though it was fiberglass body, the car still weighed 3,700 pounds. Now I drive a Crown Vic police car, which is a big, long, bulky car, and it's about 4,200 pounds. And the Avanti is, I've actually parked right next to an Avanti. The car club I'm in, the president has a 63 Avanti, and the size is actually considerably different. Anyway, you know, like I said, interior was designed for supreme luxury, and you know, it's what set the Avanti apart from everything else. But in the 2 years the first Avanti was built, there was only 4,643 of them made. So, you know, they came back with it in '66. The first Avanti models, they had the R1, R2, R3, and R4 motors that were based off of 289, and they came with, you know, superchargers and you know, beefed up components that actually broke, I think, 23 land speed records with that car. And in '66 they dropped a 327 in it, which, you know, is quieter and stuff, but it kind of, you know, they had to raise the front end actually 2 inches since the motor, or the front body panel's 2 inches since the motor sat higher. So it kind of took away that, you know, that signature rake that the Avanti has. So anyways, be on the lookout for more videos. Now that I've got a good camera, I should be making a few more. So I'm hoping once Case E starts coming into stores, I'll do a product review on that, and maybe a product review on some other lines that are coming out, or just, you know, pull out a model and check them out. So anyways, you guys have a happy new year and a safe new year. Make sure to sober cab if you're drinking too much, and have a good night.